It feels like the domino effect that leaders in West Africa wanted to avoid after Mali mutinous soldiers taking a state television in Burkina Faso to announce the overthrow of President Roch Kabore and the suspension of the constitution. This after an overnight of gunfire in the capital. Soldiers who've been saying since November that how they felt exposed in the face of an Islamist insurgency running rampant across national borders in the Sahel. We'll be asking about the latest out of Ouagadougou. What would an eventual coup, if it does indeed get confirmed now, change in yet another poor landlocked nation where radicals seem to be preying on weak institutions? Turn back the clock 7 short years. There were rising aspirations in Ouagadougou. The youth had taken to the streets to say enough of the strongman rule of Blaise Compaoré, who'd been in power for more than a quarter century. What's happened since? How much do these soldiers represent a different generation or a return to the past? And what response from West African states who've just slapped drastic sanctions on neighboring Mali, this after coup leaders there broke their promise of swift elections. We're looking at the coup in Burkina Faso, and we're joined here on set by France 24's Marc Perelman, who's been following the latest. From Niamey, Yahya Ibrahim, senior analyst for the International Crisis Group think tank and advocacy organization. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Also with us, reporter and filmmaker Michael Kirtley. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
The France 24 debate, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, hashtag F24debate. So, Marc Perelman, first we had the overnight gunfire. Then we had soldiers claiming that the president was under house arrest. Then, early afternoon, a tweet saying, no, come down and sit and negotiate. So that caused more confusion. But now these mutinous soldiers going to state television.
Yes, after a long day, long hours of waiting, uncertainty, there were early reports that the president had been detained by the coup plotters, that he was in the military compound. Then sources close to him telling me that no, he was in quote unquote a safe place, and that, you know, there were still maybe some possible negotiations going on. And it's true that as the day went by, people were wondering, well, what's happening? National television programs as normal, announcement around 4 p.m. Paris time that there would be a special announcement, nothing happening until a few minutes ago, the official announcement. You saw military taking to the airwaves and announcing, yes, that this was the end of President Kabore, that he had resigned. Apparently, he tried not to resign, but he was forced to do so. He is under house arrest, I'm being told by sources close to him, in Ouagadougou. So now, clearly, this is a new era. The transition has started for time frame nobody really is able to measure, especially because of what we saw happening in Guinea and in Mali, where the military promised that they would hand back power, but they seem to like power and to cling to power. We have, though, a name of the leader of this coup. He is a lieutenant colonel by the name of Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. There were rumors that he was indeed the man behind it. He's well known in military circles in Burkina Faso. He wrote a book about West African armies. So it's not a surprise, obviously, what happened today. It took more time, more maybe zigzags than people thought.
I want to ask you about him, but first, we had over the weekend those mutinous soldiers who spoke with reporters, including Sam Mendick of the AP, who hope to speak to later, and told her that their demands were change inside of the military ranks, of the high military ranks. That has morphed, obviously, since into a full-fledged coup.
Yes, obviously. Those demands from within the military have been there for some time. We've seen them especially since November 14th, 2021. This is really the turning point in the extreme north of Burkina Faso, near a gold mine. There's a town called Inata, and there was an attack by jihadists against what are called gendarmes, security troops. 53 died. And after that, it transpired that not only had they been killed, they had been poorly equipped, and they had even not been fed. And this really caused an uproar within military ranks, but also more broadly
within the wider population.
Exactly, the wider population.
So this officer that you mentioned, give me his name, Paul-Henri
Damiba.
Damiba.
Right, he's a lieutenant colonel.
Is he with those lower-ranked soldiers?
Well, he's a lieutenant colonel,
or is he from the old guard of Blaise Compaoré, who himself was a military?
You know, he has been rumored as one of those officers who were confronted directly with the jihadist threat and saw that the support from the very top was not strong enough, that essentially they were sent to fight, but without the necessary political support, the necessary material support. And so he was one of the voices expressing the growing discontent within military ranks. Some might say that he was maybe linked to, but clearly, you know, Blaise Compaoré, yes, there is this idea that he is still there behind the scenes. First of all, he's in poor health. And second of all, he is gone since 2015. So yes, he might still have some support, but Roch, Marc Kabore, probably brought it on himself because he's been there for now 7 years. He was reelected a year and a half ago, and he has not delivered. He has not delivered to the general population. He has not delivered to the military. So once you get into a confrontation, a brewing confrontation with the military, and you don't have popular support, you know, basically the writing is on the wall. So what happened today, you know, there was a coup attempt 10 days ago, mutiny and so on. I mean, there was no way that he could have escaped this.